For example 3, it says, give the exact value of sine of u plus v. And then they give us some information about the angle of u and the angle of v. So these are angles that are not on the unit circle, so we can't use our green sheet. But they are angles that we're given some information about. So what I'm going to do is, because they're not on the unit circle, I'm going to draw what I know about the angles. So first it's for u. This is my u information. It says the sine of u is 4/5. So if it's the sine, the formula for sine is y over r. So y is 4 and r is 5. They also tell us that u is between 0 and pi over 2. That means the angle has to be in the first quadrant. So I draw my triangle in the first quadrant. I label my y as 4, my r is 5. It's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. Use the Pythagorean theorem if you have to, and x is 3. When I go and look at v, this should say v, cosine of v. Cosine of v is negative 12/13, and the formula for cosine is x over r, so I know x is negative 12 and r is 13. And then they say v is between pi over 2 and pi. So pi over 2 and pi would be here. It has to be in the second quadrant. So I will draw a triangle in the second quadrant, label what I know. X is negative 12, r is 13. Again, that's a Pythagorean triple where y has to be 5. And y has to be positive 5 because we're going up into the second quadrant instead of down into the third or fourth. Once you have these triangles drawn, you should be able to figure this out. So, sine of u plus v, I'm going to look here at my formula sheet. Here, sine of the sum of two angles would be sine of u cosine of v plus cosine of u sine of v. And then I should be able to look all of these things up. The sine of u we were given, it's 4/5. The cosine of v we were given, it's negative 12/13. Cosine of u we weren't given, but we do have a triangle for u, so we are able to look it up. Cosine of u, we go to the u triangle. Cosine is x over r, so it'd be 3/5. And then sine of v, we have the triangle, so sine would be y over r, so it'd be 5/13. So I got the question, I wrote down the formula, I looked up all those things, and now I will just simplify. When you have two fractions multiplied together, you multiply the tops. Negative 48 over 65 plus 15 over 65, and then for fractions,
Carrie-Ann Crusoe, please dial extension 4310, Carrie-Ann Crusoe.
we use a common denominator of 65 and we add the tops. So we get negative 33 over 65.